Hi, everyone. Welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative Highlighting Engineering and Technology Virtual College Fair. This session is all about Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, if you have any questions at all, feel free to submit those through the Q&A to the presenters at any time. They are there, ready and available to answer your questions throughout the session. Your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. And lastly, all sessions are being recorded and will be available tomorrow at strivescan.com/CACHET. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and turn it over to Kurt from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University to kick us off.
Hello, everyone. Get started here by sharing my screen. Right. Just want to introduce myself. My name is Kurt Esrez. I'm one of the admissions counselors here. We'll do some quick introductions. Adrian and I will be giving the presentation today, and we'll have two of our other counselors entering the chat. So I'll let Adrian introduce herself next.
Thank you, Kurt. Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian Ravizoli. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions at the Daytona Beach, Florida campus. And as Kurt said, I'll be helping him with the presentation today. And with us, we have Corinne Girard from our Prescott, Arizona campus and Crystal Cobb from Daytona Beach. I'll let them introduce themselves.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Corinne. I am Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Prescott, Arizona campus. I am an alumna of Embry-Riddle myself, so I am looking forward to working with you all today. I'll hand it over to Crystal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Cobb, and I am Senior Assistant Director of Regional Admissions for Embry-Riddle. I am graduated from Embry-Riddle in 2016 with my master's, and I am excited to help you guys today, so send us questions.
All right. Thank you so much for all the intros. So just a little overview of what we're going over today. We're going to go over some facts, some things about our academics, outcomes, a little information about both of our campuses we have, because we do have two residential campuses, and then our next steps in the application process and financial aid. So to kind of kick it off here, if I can kick it off here, there we go. Some fast facts about ourselves. Embry-Riddle itself, we're ranked #1 in aerospace engineering. We've been ranked that now for over 20 years between our two campuses. And it's something we really pride ourselves on. We've really established our name in the industry for our undergraduate aerospace engineering programs, as well as all of our other engineering programs that have some high rankings to them as well, too. Another fun fact about us, we founded the first and only College of Security and Intelligence. This houses programs like global security, cyber securities. This is for students who are really interested in pursuing degrees in kind of the three-letter organizations or possibly military intel, or even private intelligence type realms of work. The college itself was something that was kind of created post 9/11. Let Adrian talk next.
Thank you. We also offer a program called Aerospace Physiology. It's actually the first program of its kind in the country. And it was created because there's a demand in the industry from now that more humans are joining in space flight. It's a biology pre-med program with a space focus. It's meant to train medical professionals that are going to be able to help humans in space flight. And it meshes the biological sciences with aerospace. We are an Abet accredited institution. What that means, that is the accreditation body for engineering and technology. And that is the gold standard for our industry. That means that if our programs are Abet accredited, you know that they meet the quality and the rigorous requirements that our industry currently has for the engineering and STEM programs. Our graduates also yield some of the highest return on investment. What that means is there was actually a study that was done a couple years back showing that our graduates on average are earning about $12,000 more per year than students with the same degree program from other institutions. So the Embry-Riddle reputation for our quality education really carries a lot of weight with it. We have a very strong alumni network, over 137,000 alum, and you can find them throughout the aerospace and aviation industries. These are people that can mentor and help our students that are now emerging from college to be able to help you find jobs and other opportunities in the industries. We are also considered one of the top ranked institutions in both Arizona and Florida for the highest level of quality education that you can receive for the price. If you look at our competitors and the costs compared to what you'll receive with Embry-Riddle, you'll really see that, if you don't mind me putting tritely, Embry-Riddle is more bang for your buck.
So there's some fast facts about us. Next thing we're going to get into here is a little bit about our academics. One of the things, since we're an aviation school, we really pride ourselves on is our flight team. Our university flight teams in combination have won over 13 national titles. We compete against schools all over the country, as well as in competitions that range from precision landing competitions to electronic flight calculations to even, which is a fun one to do, is ACID, it's called, or aircraft identification. They put a picture up of every aircraft, or a picture up of one aircraft created. It can be anything ever created. And you have about a 3-second time frame to look at it, and you have to identify it. So even if you are a flying student at our school, or just an engineer or security or business student who loves aviation, you can still try out to be on our flight teams and compete.
Our students also participate in active research. Some of our astronomy and astrophysics and space physics students have been working with the NASA Kepler mission. And what that is they were able to get some images that were taken from space telescopes and analyze clusters of binary stars. Those are stars that orbit each other. And what some of our students have found through their research is that when they were measuring the eclipse times between these binary star clusters, not all eclipse times happened in the same way with all the different stars. Something was identified that was pulling on the gravitational fields of these two stars, and it's surmised that it's actually a planet that's found between these two star clusters. So our students are using this to see if they can find additional exoplanets and also to calculate the age of stars.
Our next slide here is about our Phi Beta Lambda, which is our business club on campus. We compete in competitions regionally and nationally. And one of the things we always like to point out with our Arizona group of students that have competed in this, we competed against schools like major universities in the state, and they have more faculty in their programs than we have students in our total program. And we sweep the competition in stuff like hotel management, which we don't directly teach, but we teach the basic skills in. So we're really proud of what the students have done this, and we've been 13 times straight Arizona state leaders, and we've already started taking on some national competitions and taking some championships home with that as well too. Next is LIGO, which is a pretty cool project that we've been involved with. About 4 years ago now, we had a bunch of students and faculty working together to do research on gravitational waves. And basically gravitational waves, we're looking at the building blocks of the universe. And if they could prove these gravitational waves, they can help prove Einstein's theory of relativity. Well, they were able to do this. About 4 of our undergrads worked on this with our professors. They actually published research in a Nobel Prize winning research. So they actually could put that on their resume that they attributed to Nobel Prize winning research, as well as the information they're still gathering from this is a wealth of information. Our professors put it best when LIGO happened and they were able to prove this gravitational waves. It's like basically discovering a new continent on the world right now. So there's a wealth of information. Our students are still doing research to gather that information and continuing research with it as well too.
Our students in our robotics associations also have placed really highly in different competitions. There was a competition on ground vehicle, like autonomous robots, and our students actually designed and built a robot that was meant to go on-road and off-road terrain. They were able to navigate different obstacles. They're actually able to recognize street signs and yield to whatever the street signs are telling them to do. And we actually won first place in design and second overall out of 50 schools that were competing for this. So our students, again, are able to do amazing projects, amazing research, do a lot of hands-on work that will give them those experiences that companies are looking for when they're looking to hire. And this actually leads to our high placement rate.
Another student project we did with our security intel students, we were able to go around to local high schools and provide better security measures in the high schools. We did that just as an initial thing, just to do in the local area, to also give our security intel students a hands-on project to do that gave them that collaboration and just understanding of how to bring that in the real world experience. Well, that got some spotlight on it, and we were able to receive a $750,000 grant to continue on doing that through the rest of the state. So this is something our security intel students are being able to do and work with hands-on in the real world with it and provide a nice service to the local community as well too. We do have study abroad opportunities offered between our two campuses in our Florida and Arizona campus. The cool thing is we go on separate trips between the two campuses. And so students on each campus can actually select to go on those different study abroads. They are faculty-led programs, so we do bring our own faculty to those study abroad. So you are getting an educator from Embry-Riddle while you're out doing a study abroad. It is a nice thing too, because you do get a discounted tuition rate to help cover the cost of traveling around the world. So it's a great opportunity for our students to go see the world, but also get some credit towards their degree programs too. A big thing that we always try to push on our students to pursue are internships and co-ops. We have all the tools to help you succeed in those while you're on campus as well too. We have dedicated career services on campus that will do resume critiques. They'll do mock interviews. The career services will also bring in industry on campus, kind of like a college fair, but they're doing industry career expos for our students, as you can kind of see pictured here. We bring major fairs on campus twice a year at both locations in the fall and the spring, and then we do smaller breakouts that are maybe more degree related throughout the year, as well as just industry representatives will come out and actually just talk about opportunities at their jobs or their careers, as well as do in-person interviews for students that are specifically interested in that. So we always have industry on campus trying to recruit our students. And our faculty have a lot of ties to the industry as well too. We have most of our faculty has actually worked in the industry, so they bring that industry experience into the classroom. And none of our classes are taught by TAs. They're taught directly by your faculty. If you ever see a TA or working in our classrooms, they're usually assisting the faculty in the lab. So smaller class sizes that help conduce that and not have those large 200, 400 person lecture halls. You're working directly with your faculty, and they definitely know you on a first name basis. So if you miss class, they notice. Next, we're going to get into some outcomes, some of the results of what our students are doing in the industry.
As I said earlier about the placement rate, over 94% of our students actually get jobs in their field or pursue higher level degrees like master's and doctorate degrees at 1 year of graduation. The national average, based on a study that was recently done, is about 43%. So we attribute our success to the fact that students are able to do these internships and co-ops in the industry. They're able to work on research as undergraduate students. That's definitely something that sets us apart from other STEM schools. And all of this gives students the upper hand when they're looking for jobs, when they're seeking out companies that are looking for students that have real world experience. Our students leave with at least 2-3 years experience under their belts. A lot of our industry offerings are highly in demand right now. Actually, Boeing released a study recently that indicated that despite the pandemic and despite the slowdown in air travel, our demand for pilots has actually increased. We're over 700,000 pilots short for the next 5 years projected, and we'll need almost as many aviation maintenance technicians as well as in the areas of business or engineering. I mean, as you see now, you see engineering is growing by, not just private sector, public sector. By March of 2022, we're looking at launching the NASA Orion rocket. We have SpaceX that's launching at least once a month now. We have the Boeing Starliner that should hopefully be going up soon. So all of these opportunities are building career placements for students. There's a huge demand and just not enough people to fill these positions. Another area that's really high in demand right now is cybersecurity and intelligence, as well as counterintelligence, global conflict studies. These are things that students that want to get into for example, FBI or CIA. You can also work for private sector. Some government contractors are actually still seeking to fill these positions like Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin. So all of these opportunities that we offer our students are things that are highly in demand right now. So you are going to be able to get a job. You just have to be able to go through the program, get the experience that companies are looking for, and you'll be able to be in that high placement rate.
Should unmute myself. Next, we're gonna get in a little bit about the campuses. Like we mentioned earlier, we do have 2 campuses. It's the same university with just 2 different locations. When you apply, you only apply to one, but when you're accepted to both. So you can switch between these 2 campuses at any point. To kick it off, we'll talk here about our Arizona campus first. We have about 3,000 students at our Arizona campus. Our average class size is about 25. We have over 200 clubs and organizations that you can be a part of. We do have fraternity sorority life. We have 9 fraternities and sororities on campus. And then we offer intercollegiate sports. A little bit different than our Florida campus. We are a part of the CalPAC, which is the NAIA division sports. And we also host Air Force and Army ROTC. Another thing I'll just kind of touch on too with class size. Average class size, a lot of schools and universities will say is average is 25. And I've always was like, oh, I thought that was something unique about Embry-Riddle. The difference with us, and this is the same at our Florida campus, you're not going to sit in those 200 to 400 student lecture halls. Our biggest classes are maybe 50 to 60 students. And when you get into your upper level courses, you'll probably have as little as 10 to 15 students. So when we say that average class size is about 25, that is pretty spot on, and it's very personable with your professors. Just a little bit of information about our Arizona campus as well too. A lot of times when people think of Arizona, they think of what Phoenix is. When they hit the news, it's 120 degrees in the summer, hot days, nice mild winters. We aren't actually like Phoenix. We're actually in northern Arizona. We're at 5,000 feet. So we do get a little touch of all 4 seasons. We do get a little snow. It does melt off in about 2 to 3 days. We are connected to the largest Ponderosa forest in the country as well too. So there is a lot of great opportunities, which you'll see here in these next couple of bullet points on here. Our historic downtown area is just about 7 miles away from campus. Prescott is actually the former territorial capital of Arizona. So a lot of history here. Wyatt Earp and his gang hung out here before they went down to Tombstone. We have 300 plus sunshine days a year. And you'll notice that's something very similar between our Florida campus. And that's we selected these locations for our campuses because of the great flying weather. We also have been ranked by the American Lung Association for the top cleanest air in the nation. So we always like to joke that you could literally get a breath of fresh air here. We are not downwind of any major city that has pollutants that are coming towards us. As I mentioned, being by the forest, we are a National Geographic top adventure town. So we have a lot of great opportunities for outdooring, bouldering, kayaking, paddleboarding around the area as well too. And we've also been, our Prescott itself has been ranked as the best value town in the Southwest. So there's a lot of tourist activity through this area as well too.
So a little bit about our Florida campus. Daytona Beach is actually about 7,000 students strong, and our class size is very similar to Prescott, about 25 to 27 students. I've had the privilege of teaching some freshman level classes, and the largest class I ever had was about 25 students. We have over 200 different student organizations on campus. We have everything from the student popular, parent not so popular skydiving club to muscle car clubs. We have cultural organizations, student run radio station and newspaper. I mean, pretty much anything you can imagine. And if you don't find something you want to do, you can actually start your own club. And this goes for Prescott as well. We also have a very popular intramural hockey club, believe it or not, in the middle of Daytona Beach. We have NCAA Division II sports, and we actually offer 20 different athletic teams, and there are athletic scholarships available at both our campuses. We also have, similar to Prescott, a wide variety of fraternities and sororities that you can join. The Daytona area itself and the campus is about 5 miles from the beach. We're about an hour east of Orlando, but most importantly to a lot of my engineers, we're an hour north of Kennedy Space Center. So a lot of great opportunities for internships, but also a really great chance to do just a day trip and go down there and enjoy all the interactive activities that you have down there at the Space Center. We are the Sunshine State, and we have 230 plus days of sunshine a year, but thankfully, for a lot of our meteorology students, we also have our fair share of violent thunderstorms in the afternoons. But those thunderstorms are quick. You usually get a rain shower in the afternoon, and then by 5, 6 p.m. it's done, and it's like nothing ever happened. Like I said earlier, we are in NCAA Division II, and we also have the largest university-based research telescope. So if you ever do get a chance to visit our campus, you'll see this large dome on our College of Arts and Sciences, and that's actually our telescope. Currently, it's not open to tours, but hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to reopen that so that students can come and visit.
Now that we talked a little about the campuses, we'll get into the next steps here. And this is kind of where we wanted to spend a little time to kind of tell you about our application processes and our financial aid available at Embry-Riddle. So to kind of get into here, the application process, we do have an online application. Like I mentioned before, it's important that you know that there's 2 locations and you can apply to either one of them, but you cannot apply to both of them at the same time. Since it is the same school, there's no point to have 2 applications out. What's required with the application is your transcripts. What's also recommended is your letters of recommendation, essay, and resume. So your transcripts are the main thing that we're looking at, but what really gives us a full picture of who you are as a student is what you put in your letter of rec, your essay, and your resume. And then lastly on that, you'll see we're test optional. Embry-Riddle's been test optional pre-COVID. And if you ever feel that your test scores, your SAT or ACT are not a great representation of your academic character, you can choose to be completely reviewed with just your GPA and your transcripts. That being said, there's no catch. You're still fully eligible for our scholarships through that. So definitely, if that's your decision, there's no negative side effect to that as well too. And lastly, the thing I want to point out on this slide too is the application fee waiver code. There is a $50 application fee with our application. This waiver code will waive that fee. For any juniors in the room, we open up our apps usually in the end of summer, July-ish time, so you can start applying for the fall 2022 semester. If you are a senior, we do rolling admissions, so we are still open for applications right now for the fall 2021 semester. So it's definitely a rolling admissions process, and there's still time to make that happen as well. So a big question usually on the admissions process is what's the decision process? So we take a holistic approach. We look at everything. If you don't submit everything, we only look at what we have. So when those recommended items that I recommend or talked about earlier, definitely submit those because it gives us that big full picture view as a student before we make our decision. We do look at your GPA. And when it comes to GPA, we do look at your weighted GPA. So if you've been in AP, IB, dual enrolled, honors courses, we take all of that into consideration with your GPA as well too. The test scores, so if you do choose to submit those, that will be taken into consideration for your acceptance. And we do super score the SAT. If you took the SAT and the ACT, we're going to take the highest score between those 2 test scores and use that. So we're only looking at when you've done your best with your standardized tests. A big consideration for us, because most of our degree programs are bachelor's of science degree programs, is we're going to be looking at your math and science prep. So if you're interested in our engineering or our technical style degree programs, we're going to want to see at least pre-calculus or trigonometry for your prerequisite. We're also going to want to see about 3 years of lab science, one of those being maybe physics or chemistry. So we're looking for those rigors of courses to set you up to succeed when you get here. And course rigors, like I kind of mentioned. So if you're in AP courses, if you're in honors, IB, or those dual enrollments, we're definitely taking note of that if you're taking challenging courses throughout your high school career and preparing yourself to get into these challenging career fields as well too. We're not all just about academics. We definitely are paying attention to your extracurricular activities. So if you're involved in sports, if you're involved in clubs or organizations, if you are doing stuff like leadership, youth groups, anything of that sort, especially if it's stuff related to your specific degree programs. We love seeing that, especially when you get into those leadership areas. So when you join clubs and organizations, that's great. We see students that join multiple of those, but what we really look out for in those too is if you've taken on leadership roles in those or officer roles in those clubs and organizations, which require a little more work and time too. And then, like I kind of mentioned before, activities related to your career. So if you get those high school internships, not too common, but sometimes we see those on applications, or if we see students that are interested in flight that are pursuing their aviation careers already, or just being around it or talking and involvement in those. We love to see that because we're looking for those driven students to be in our programs as well too.
So a little bit about our financial aid. Actually, over 90% of our students do receive some sort of financial aid through us. We do offer merit scholarships, and as Kurt mentioned, you are automatically considered whether or not you submit your test scores. So once you're accepted to the university, you're automatically reviewed for merit scholarships. We do encourage students to also fill out the FAFSA. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It is open every October. So for those of you that are seniors right now, it is already available for the fall of 2021. And for those of you that are juniors, you can start applying for it this October, and it'll be actually using tax information from 2 years ago. So you can go ahead and actually add up to 10 schools that can receive your information from the FAFSA. Just make sure that Embry-Riddle is listed as one of those. There is a drop-down menu where you can select us, and it doesn't go by campus, it's just for the university. So whether you apply to Prescott, you apply to Daytona, we will both be able to get your information. This basically just tells us what the government is going to help you with to be able to go to college. So it could be a low interest student loan, it could be a grant, but there are a lot of benefits to filling out the FAFSA. External scholarships, we definitely encourage students to look for these. These are outside opportunities for aid that have nothing to do with a particular school. So these are just outside organizations that help students fund their college education. For example, Tylenol has scholarships, McDonald's, Dell Computers has scholarships, different aviation associations offer scholarships. It's a good idea to Google, but you can always go on our website as well and click on financial aid and click on scholarship opportunities. And there is a huge list to help you get started. This is definitely something that you want to do every single year. And this is something that I definitely encourage you to fill out your FAFSA before you do so, because some applications will ask you if you filed your FAFSA. It's kind of your way of showing that you're looking for every single opportunity out there to help yourself get money for school. Be involved once you're on campus as well, because there's going to be opportunities through different organizations, as well as through different fraternities and sororities or different clubs that you belong to give you scholarship opportunities to apply for as well. We have internal scholarships at Embry-Riddle for continuing students through our donors, through our endowment fund. So they're definitely going to be looking for what kind of involvement, what kind of clubs you're in, if you're doing any kind of leadership or anything like that. Also, for students that are involved in FIRST Robotics, VEX Robotics, Team America Rocketry Challenge, Systems Go, or Cyber Patriot, there is a special scholarship application on our website that you can fill out and potentially get some additional funding as well to help you with school.
And here's some general information for our campuses. On here, you'll see that we have our admissions emails for both campuses and our 1-800 numbers. So we highly encourage you to reach out and talk to any of us if you do have any of those questions related to admissions, the admissions process. And we also, while I got this on here, we don't have a slide for it, but we are open for campus tours, and we highly encourage you to come visit either of our campuses. We do have our different specialized tours throughout the day. And we have slots available all the way through summer for campus tours. So if this is the school you're really considering, I highly recommend you come and check out our campus tour. And that's pretty much our presentation for today. We are definitely here to answer any of your questions in the Q&A, but thank you for attending our Embry-Riddle presentation.
Thank you.
Did we want to wait a bit for Q&A or? Okay.
Yeah, we can wait a little bit and see if there's a couple more questions, and then if not, we can wrap it up.
Awesome.
It looks like
And
we do have, sorry, go ahead, Catherine.
oh no, I was gonna say as questions come in, yeah, we can feel free to jump into it. And as people are submitting their questions, I know one question that a lot of people do ask is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? So if you don't mind speaking about that a little bit, and then we can jump into some of the Q&A ones.
Yeah, we can answer some of those Q&As live as well too. And I'll have Corinne kind of read them out. What was the question again? Sorry, I had a...
No worries. What advice would you give someone going through the college search process?
Awesome. So the best advice I can give, and I hear this from many admissions counselors when we were on the road all together, going to college fairs and everything, is definitely, I mean, the website's a great location for information and checking out, especially right now with COVID. There's a lot of virtual opportunities to see the campuses, but if the campuses are open, I highly recommend that you go out and check out the campus tour. Just being able to see the campus and seeing where you're spending 4 years of your life will definitely help out your opportunities for campuses or campus selection when you're looking at multiple colleges. So I'll turn it over to Corinne to ask some questions, and maybe Adrian and I can answer these live.
Definitely. All right. So the first question is from Richard. He says, I want to major in aerospace engineering, but I also want to get my private pilot's license. Will Embry-Riddle provide us the opportunity to do that?
Yes, we do have a minor in flight. So you definitely can get your major in aerospace engineering and do a minor in flight. I will give you this warning. We have a lot of students interested in aviation right now. So the majors do have priority for flight training. You might not get up in the air as quickly or as often as the students working on the major, but there is definitely an opportunity to do it as a minor.
However, you can't really do that at the Daytona Beach campus at this point because our program is completely at capacity. So all the resources for our flight training go to our students that are actually majoring in the program. So unfortunately, we can't offer the minor in flight anymore, but you can definitely pursue that at our Prescott campus.
All right, next question says, could you describe how students complete their pilot training while attending Embry-Riddle? And could you also talk a bit about costs?
Yeah, I can definitely answer that. So your flight training is a part of your education. You have a flight block that you select. There's usually 3 different types of flight blocks. There's a morning, afternoon, or evening. If you're a primary or private pilot student, you're usually going to have a morning or afternoon flight block because you need to be able to look outside the aircraft and use visual points. But that is the class schedules at both campuses are worked around those flight blocks so that you can be able to do flight training and do your courses at the same time. Now, flight training, since you're asking about cost, is an additional cost on top of our tuition. Flight is pay as you go, but it is a part of your academics or your degree program at the school. That being said, scholarships and stuff can, financial aid can apply towards your flight training at the school. So it's not like a separate flight school where you're doing training and you're doing your education at Embry-Riddle. Our flight training is a part of your degree program and is required if you're an aeronautical science major to complete to graduate as well too.
All right, next question says, does Embry-Riddle offer full ride scholarships?
We do not offer one full ride scholarship, but a combination of our scholarships can definitely cover the cost of attendance at the school. So if you have a combination of ROTC scholarship or an academic or even athletic scholarship. So we do have a lot of students that pursue multiple organizations through that and then get a full ride, but we don't offer one full ride scholarship.
All right, it looks like we're still waiting for some more questions to come in. So while we do that, I'll give my input on my number 1 tip for students. My number 1 tip for students applying to college would be to make sure that you establish a good relationship with your admissions counselor and to check your email frequently. Make sure that your voicemail is not full and that your voicemail is set up. Make sure that it is a professional voicemail so that we can get a hold of you. That is our number 1 way of getting a hold of you via email or voicemail. And if we can't do that, then we can't help you. So let us help you, help us help you. So have all your communication lines open and ready for use. Looks like we do have another question. It says, how would flight training look if the student enters the flight training program with both a private and instrument license?
If you come in with your private and instrument, it is like transfer credit. This also brings in another topic with the restricted ATP or restricted airline transportation pilot rating. If you do have your instrument rating, you are actually no longer eligible for that. And what the restricted ATP is the ATP or airline transportation pilot license is a license that commercial pilots need to fly for airlines. There is a requirement of 1,500 hours to go fly, of total flight hours, or training hours, or whatever combination of hours you have to go fly with an airline. If you go to a school that has been FAA approved for their restricted ATP like Embry-Riddle, it shaves 500 hours off the requirement. So if you do have your if you do have your instrument rating, it's not an Embry-Riddle rule. This is an FAA rule. This is out of our hands. You're no longer eligible for the restricted ATP or ATP. But you can definitely still build hours and move on. That's 500 hours for a flight instructor can be made up in about 1.5 years pretty easily and move on to the aviation industry. But that being said, there's a lot of opportunities to build those hours on campus once you graduate as a flight instructor with us as well too.
Next question says, do you have to live on campus?
So Adrian, I'll let you answer this one.
Okay, well, I was going to say, yes, you do. As for your first 2 years, unless you live within a 30-mile radius of the campus. And that means you and your parents, not just you alone in your apartment or your house. So yes, students do have to live on campus, but It benefits you because you actually are able to make it to classes on time. You don't have to be looking for parking. And studies have actually shown that students are more engaged with campus if they actually live on campus. So you can actually stay later to do different activities or join different clubs. You can do late night study sessions. So you'll actually be more successful living on campus.
And if there's not any other questions, oh, there is. There we go.
All right. Ian also wants to know if the dorms are apartment style or regular 1-person, 2-person suite style.
Adrian, you want to continue with the?
Sure. And honestly, Kurt, you might want to help me out because I don't remember the dorms at Prescott, but in Daytona, our dorms are typically suite style. That means there's 2 rooms connected by a common area, and the rooms themselves are gender specific. So you'll have like 2 gentlemen, and then a common area. And then the room next door could potentially be 2 female students in a common area there as well. Students are usually housed by their major. So you'll be in collaboration with other students that are in your same classes. That means that you're doing homework together, you're studying for exams together. And overall, it just fosters this network and this connection with students that are, again, in the same industry or in the same career path that you're going into.
Yeah, and to tag on to that with the Prescott style dormitories, we do have the 2-person style suites like Daytona does, but we do have also a 6-person suite, which is basically, these are our oldest style dorms and our most common freshman dorms, but it's basically a 4-room suite that has 3 bedrooms and a common living lounge that all 6 of those people share. The newer, most popular ones, though, are actually the 2-bedroom style suites, apartment style type of setup. But you do have options. When it comes to housing selection for us, it's almost kind of like airline seating with available open rooms or available spots in each room. So if you find out a group of friends of you that are same gender want to live together, you guys can all select the 6-person room together, or and vice versa, the 2-person room. The same thing goes for Daytona. So it's kind of just more streamlined, and we have social media apps that we utilize for you guys to kind of network on and talk on before you get to school, so you can maybe possibly find a potential roommate before you come into Riddle too.
Next question says, does Embry-Riddle offer co-ops?
I think they're asking what a co-op possibly is. A co-op is kind of like an internship where you go a semester on school, a semester off school, where you basically, like Gulfstream's a pretty common one I know a lot of our students go to, where they'll go work for Gulfstream for a semester, and then they'll come back to campus for a semester, and they'll basically do that over 4 different semesters or over the period of school. And by the time they complete that co-op, they've actually got a job when they finish their degree with us. So they move into a full-time job with that company as well too. So it's another opportunity for kind of in the internship realm for our students to go.
Another good question here, and this is a question that I know I receive a lot. The student says, I would like to work as a commercial pilot. What majors would you recommend to complement and back up as in case the pilot career doesn't work out?
So kind of what Adrian was mentioning before, the majors are mostly the ones taking priority for our flight training. So for backup, minors aren't always a bad case to do with your major in aeronautical science. That being said, you can do like a business minor or a safety minor. You could do something in air traffic management as a minor. So there's different opportunities outside of just the flying realm of things. Your degree in aeronautical science will still open up doors for you outside of just the normal flying opportunities or commercial pilot opportunities. So if you wanted to go work like aircraft insurance, aeronautical science, or someone that has a great understanding of aircraft can go work in the insurance side of things if for some reason flying doesn't work out for you medically or not. As well as there's aircraft sales. So if you're familiar with aircraft and working in the sales and the corporate side of things. So there's different opportunities with your knowledge of aviation that you can take with your degree within the industry if you still have a passion for aviation as well too.
Another question here says, does Embry-Riddle offer study abroad opportunities?
Yes, we do offer study abroad opportunities. Since we do have the 2 campuses, they're offered between both campuses through 2 separate study abroad coordinators, but students from either campus can hop onto those study abroad opportunities. So yes, we do. With COVID recently, we haven't done anything, but when things start to open up again, we'll definitely have more opportunities for study abroad for our students.
This question is a point of clarification. If you're in the flight training program, your major must be aviation sciences. Yes, your major must be aeronautical science if you want to be a part of the flight training program and get the priority of the student in that major.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left of our presentation here. Is there any more questions we can answer for y'all?
This question says, what are the common double majors at Embry-Riddle?
That is a unique question. I haven't been asked before. I don't know of many common double majors. A lot of our students usually kind of hunker down with whatever their specific degree program is. The only experience I can give, because I am also an alum of Embry-Riddle, my flight instructor when I was a student was a dual major. He did aeronautical science and aerospace engineering. He was able to finish that in 5 years, which is a feat in itself. But he now is a test pilot at NASA Dryden Research Center at Edwards Air Force Base, and he gets to sit back in the backseat as a civilian in F-16s and do high lift engineering and aerodynamics with them. So kind of a cool opportunity. One of the cooler flying jobs you can ever be as a test pilot.
I actually used to be an academic advisor as well at the Embry-Riddle Daytona campus, and a lot of students that were interested in doing double majors, what we'd always recommend is to try and stick with programs that were kind of in the same family. So a lot of my aerospace engineers, for example, are very interested in doing a double major with astronomy and astrophysics or space physics, things that have classes that overlap, because you want to not spend 12 years in college being able to complete 2 degrees. So if you are able to choose some that have overlapping classes, you'll be able to complete it in a fairly reasonable amount of time. So that's my best recommendation when you're looking at doing double majors.
I think this might be our last question. How many students pursue a computer science degree at Embry-Riddle? I'm also interested in cybersecurity.
I'll let Adrian answer this one because they have a computer science program in Daytona.
I honestly don't know the exact number of students that pursue the computer science. It is actually one of our smaller programs. It is definitely growing because students do have the interest in doing computer science, and we do offer a concentration in cybersecurity. You can actually major in cybersecurity at the Prescott, Arizona campus. But the fact that it's a smaller program, don't let that dissuade you. It's still a very strong program. Our students have the opportunities like every other major to do research, to do internships, and a lot of our students have a chance to, for example, go into a lot of the big hitters like Intel, Google, Electronic Arts, which is actually in Lake Mary, Florida, not too far from our campus. One of our computer science students actually recently got a job as a cybersecurity specialist with Lockheed Martin out of California. So again, it's a really great program. It's a strong program. It's just smaller, but that's a benefit to you because you'll actually be in a smaller class. So you have more one-on-one attention with your professor and more opportunities to explore internships without competing with a lot of other students like you would with some of the bigger majors.
All right, so it looks like we're just about out of time here. So we just want to wrap it up and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and hear us talk about our university. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our website. You can fill out an inquiry card and one of our admissions counselors will contact you directly and help you out. So thank you again for taking time out of your day to come see our presentation.
Great, thanks. There's a couple more Q&A questions coming in, so don't worry, we'll make sure someone can follow up with you on those. So thank you to each of our representatives for being here. Thank you for all the great information you've shared so far. It is greatly appreciated. And thank you to each of you for joining us. As we close, there'll be a very quick 4-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out, your feedback will be very helpful. And this session and this recording will be available a week from today or even tomorrow at strivescan.com/CACHET. Again, thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you.